Hello, Scott here from 100% LCFC. Been asked by Redmen TV to do a little bit of a talk on Leicester, what to expect in the Liverpool v Leicester game this coming weekend, how our season started, and what the likely starting lineup's going to be. Bit of a low budget today, I can only apologise. We're in my boudoir, should we say. Phil, our leader, is away in Berlin at the minute, and he's got all the Gucci kit and Gucci backdrop. So you'll have to put up with my house, the wife's snuggle cushion. Just ignore that. And but hey, we're not here to talk about the backdrop or how things look. We're here to talk about Liverpool v Leicester. So Leicester, how have they started this season? Not brilliant. Let's face it. It didn't start off great. Hull City away. You know, we couldn't have asked for a better start to the season. Hull looked dead and buried from the off. 13 fit players, no manager. But whether we took them lightly, I don't know. But they dug in. They had this siege mentality, and they did a job on us. They beat us 2-1. It's one of those things, you know. We're the first champions to lose the opening game. But, hey, these things happen. And we're Leicester, you know. We learn from things like that. We learn a little bit more. If we'd have gone and beaten 3-0, we might have got stuffed by Arsenal. So, might have done us a bit of a favour, looking at it with a little bit of optimism. We came up against Arsenal at home in the next match at the King Power Stadium. A 0-0, finished 0-0. Either team could have nicked it. But I was happy. The performance was good. A fair result in the end, I think. You know, Arsenal are going to be a good team again this season. I know their fans get a little bit frustrated of their dealings and their signings, but they're always there or thereabouts. They came second last year. They're not to be sniffed at. And then we came up against Swansea in our next home game, which we won 2-1. We came away with the 3 points, which is great, but we should have been a lot more comfortable than it was. Leicester played really well. Riyad Mahrez steps up and misses his third penalty out of his last 4. And Leroy Fer then gets a late goal for Swansea towards the end and makes it a little bit more difficult for us. But we dug in. We came away with the 3 points. Sign of champions, some people might say. But hey, it's the 3 points that count. It's a bit strange for Leicester this season. You know, a lot of people tipping them to... Some people are tipping relegation, which I think is crazy. But a lot of people are expecting them to drop down a little bit. But we are, you know, we're Leicester City. We'll be happy with a top 8 finish. We'd be delighted with that. Knocking on the door of perhaps a European spot. But, you know, why not? Why can't we get a top 4? It's certainly within our locker. But you look at Man U, you look at Man City, and all the other teams that perhaps wasn't as good last season. They've certainly strengthened, and they're going to be up there or thereabouts. So it's going to be difficult to get in top 4, but why not? Starting lineup for Leicester, I don't think we expect many changes. The Tinkerman's no longer the Tinkerman. Kasper Schmeichel might be a doubt. He did his hernia and he's had an operation, but he's back in training. He was trying to get back for the Denmark game at the weekend, but didn't quite make that. We are expecting him to be fit, so Kasper Schmeichel in goal. If not, Ron Robert Zieler, a World Cup winner as an understudy for the Germany team in 2014. Looks a very good keeper from what I've seen of him. Very composed, positioning's good, commands the area, perhaps a little better than Schmeichel, but Schmeichel's a great shot stopper. So we expect Schmeichel to be in goal. Left back, Christian Fuchs, recently retired from international football. Massive part of our Premier League winning season last year. Great character on and off the field. And if you believe rumours, he was linked with Liverpool before the window shut. We never expected him to leave. He's given indication that he'll see his 3 years out here, and then he's expecting to go and live with his wife in America. So was more than happy to see that that rumour didn't come to fruition. Very, very good left back. Good cross for the ball, good vision. Unsung hero, I think, in many aspects, certainly of last season. There was so many good performers that he didn't get the credit he deserved. But, you know, he's going to be a tough player for Liverpool to come up against. Then you've got the bouncers in the middle of Huth and Morgan. Again, not blessed with pace, Robert Huth, but his positioning, his strength, his aerial prowess, he's very good and going to be a tough opponent for the Liverpool strike force. Morgan is very quick, gets his body in the way, puts his body on the line. Very, very good captain. With Huth by his side, he's a fantastic player. Without Huth, he seems to, drop a little bit in his performances. Whether he feels that he's got to do a little bit more without Huth there, I don't know. But together, they are a formidable team. And then Danny Simpson at right back. He has been a revelation the last 12 months. That said, I think a lot of people will point him out as the weak link, but he's more than capable at right back. Doesn't go as far forward as perhaps Richie Delat used to, who's obviously just gone to Villa. Less of attack-minded player than that. Lets Riyad Mahrez do his thing, and he's happy to sit back and defend, which is good because Riyad Mahrez doesn't come back and defend, or not as often as he should anyway. So that leads us into the midfield with Riyad Mahrez on the right wing. There's no reason why he's not going to start there. Given a little bit of a free role, I think, against Swansea. But I think against Liverpool, it'll be a little bit more of a structured 4-4-2 that we'll go into. So Mahrez frustrates me sometimes. He's got it in his locker to be a world beater. Just doesn't do it all the time. But, it's in there. He can come up with a 30-yard thunderbolt. As he showed in the internationals that have just gone, scored a cracking free kick for Algeria and then followed up with a second on a half volley from 20 yards. So certainly got it in his locker. He's going to be a threat towards Liverpool. In the middle, Danny Drinkwater didn't feature for England, which many people were surprised. But hey, England won in the end, so who are we to judge? Personally, I'm happy he didn't play in what was a pretty boring game because he's going to be fitter and fresher for Leicester at the weekend. So whilst we are disappointed he's not getting the recognition he deserves, selfishly, I'd rather he was fit for Leicester. N'Golo Kante obviously went to Chelsea for £32 million. For whatever reason, he didn't want to stay. Massive void left by him. Irreplaceable. We're not going to say that anybody's coming in to replace him. We've signed Mendy as an option, but he picked up an injury a couple of games ago. So whether he comes back, I don't know. But Danny Amati came in against Swansea, and he was fantastic. I'm not saying he replaced Kante by any stretch, but he certainly filled part of that void and was a massive part of the build-up to the first goal that Jamie Vardy scored. So expecting Amati to be in with Drinkwater in the middle. He's a box-to-box midfielder. He's strong. He's got a bit of pace. A little bit less sort of polished than Kante. Probably a little bit more clumsy. Likely to give away more free kicks. Pick up more yellow cards. So not a weak link, but certainly one that Liverpool can exploit. And then on the left, Mark Albrighton, again, another player that a massive unsung hero. Not blessed with, loads of ability. Certainly not on the scale of Riyad Mahrez on the other side. But there's just something about it that adds so much quality to the team. We started with Damari Gray against Hull. He's a great player. 19 years old, very composed on the ball. Certainly one for the future. But something just didn't quite click on that first game, and he ended up losing his place to Mark Albrighton, who puts in a shift. Often gets subbed towards the end of the match, but he puts in a massive shift. Puts in a lot of crosses, but we don't act upon that because the front two are not blessed with height. But I'll talk about that and a possible threat later on. Leading us on to the front two, Jamie Vardy's obviously going to start. We all know the threat that Vardy poses. He will try and get in behind. How do Liverpool stop that? They'll probably have to sit a little bit deeper than normal and frustrate Vardy. But again, Vardy just needs that one chance, and he's very clinical with his finishing. Alongside him, we expect Shinji Okazaki, another unsung hero. I keep mentioning these unsung heroes. Okazaki's a bit like Marmite with Leicester fans. Some love him, some hate him. I love him. I think he's learnt a lot in his first 12 months in the Premier League. He pesters the back line and not bullies them, but causes problems and lets Vardy do his thing. And I think, again, the dimensions of the team just work with Okazaki in there. So we expect him to start. However, we've brought in Hamed Musa, rapid player. Some say he's faster than Vardy. And certainly on what we've seen so far, he's definitely on par. Not quite as clinical as Vardy on the finishing, but he's a threatening player. He can come on later on and cause some problems for Liverpool. Think he might come into his own for Leicester a little bit more with the Champions League. He's got the experience with the Champions League, but definitely a threat for Liverpool and one to watch. Mentioned about the height with the crosses. We've just signed Islam Slimani, who I don't think will start. I think Okazaki will keep his place, as I've said, but Slimani will feature, I think, at some point. Very good in the air, scores a lot of headed goals. If he comes on later on, does Albrighton stay on for the whole match, which he doesn't tend to do, and deliver those crosses to him? Who knows? But we've got very, very sort of wide variety of threats now coming from the bench. Leicester will do the same as last year. They'll let Liverpool have possession and hit on the counter. But that said, I think the Anfield game last year, Liverpool did a Leicester on us. They let Leicester have a lot of the possession, hit us on the counter. Benteke stepped up and got the late goal, and we just couldn't find our way back into it. And it was only one of 3 losses last season. But it's that Jekyll and Hyde Liverpool. That team didn't turn up later on in the season when Leicester won 2-0. Very even match up until the point that Vardy scored that thunderbolt. And as we've said, he's got that in his locker. He just needs that one chance. Scored that fantastic 30-yarder, and from there it was Leicester's day and it was Leicester's game, and Leicester ended up winning 2-0. So the Jekyll and Hyde, as I've mentioned, we've seen it already from Liverpool this season. Beat Arsenal 4-3 in a fantastic game. Sat and watched it, and there was some brilliant football, some brilliant goals. But then let Arsenal back into it, dug in and got the win, which, 3 points is 3 points. Then they come up against Burnley and get turned over by 2 very good Burnley goals, and Burnley are that stubborn team that just didn't let Liverpool back into it. But that said, Leicester travelling to Anfield, a newly revamped Anfield, it's a daunting task. Going to Anfield's a daunting task for any team. And Liverpool are going to be well up for it. They will want to put on a show for the fans, the bumper crowd that we're expecting. And I think, they'll be a little bit wounded by the way the season's gone so far, and they'll want to put on a good show against Leicester, and they're more than capable of beating them, as are Leicester more than capable of beating Liverpool. So it stands to be a very good game. Personally, I think it's going to be a draw. I think Liverpool will take the lead. I think Leicester will fight their way back into it and come away with a 1-1 draw, which I'll be delighted with. A point away anywhere in the Premier League's brilliant, particularly somewhere like Anfield. Always like Anfield. It's a great away game. Really looking forward to it. And I just hope it's a good spectacle for everybody that's there. So that's my thoughts on the game that's up and coming. Let us know your thoughts. Please like and share this video. Follow us at 100% LCFC. We're more than happy to have any fans on there. And likewise, follow Redmen TV. I'm Scott from 100% LCFC. We'll speak soon.